All right, let's do some skill practice for the absolute value. And as we know, the absolute value represents the distance between that number and zero. Is how far a number is from zero, and it's always positive. The distance is always positive. So if you want to know the absolute value of -1, -5, for example, on question number one, the absolute value of -5 is how far the -5 is from zero, right? What is the distance? It's 5 units. It's always positive. So the absolute value of -5, it will be 5, right? Times the absolute value of 4 is 4, and the same thing. The absolute value of -3 will be 3, right? So 5 times 4 is 20, and 20 times 3 will be 60. That's going to be the answer. For question number two, we get the absolute value of -9 divided by 3 times the absolute value of 8 divided by 2. So let's remove the absolute value, right? So it's going to be 9 over 3 times the absolute value of 8 will be 8 over 2, right? Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4, and the answer is 12. It's a good idea always to simplify before you multiply. But sometimes you can multiply. For example, you can multiply the numerator with the numerator and denominator with the denominator. So you can do this like 9 times 8 and 3 times 2. That will be 72 divided by 6, which is also 12. Right? I prefer to simplify before you multiply all the time. Right? We know that 3 goes to 9 3 times, and 2 goes to 8 4 times. So 3 times 4 would be 12. Very simple. Let's take this question here. We have a negative absolute value of -2 times the absolute value of -3 times 6 divided by 9. So let's try to go here to remove the absolute value for -2. Well, we know that we have the negative here. That's going to stay negative there, right? And then the absolute value of -2 will be 2 times. And here we're going to solve inside. It's like PEMDAS. We're going to solve inside the absolute value. It's like parentheses. So what's -3 times 6? That would be -18 divided by 9. And here we have like -2 times the absolute value of -18 will be 18 divided by 9, right? And here we have the fraction bar for division, so 18. So we have to divide first. 18 divided by 9, we're gonna have 2, and the answer will be -4 because -2 times 2 will be -4. Again, here we have to pay attention when we have. Let me explain this. When we have like negative absolute value of -2. It's absolutely different than, it's different than the parentheses -2, right? So let's say like this one versus this one. So here it's going to be, the negative is going to be separate here, and we have to solve inside the absolute value would be 2. Now, unlike here, we have a parentheses. That's multiplication of the sign. The negative times negative is positive. It's the same thing as we have -1 times -2, and the answer is +2. Right? So make sure you pay attention to this, right? Absolutely, very, very, very important. All right, so let's take question number 4. We get the absolute value of -5 divided by 2 times -5 minus parentheses -2. All right, so let's do this one here. So we have the absolute value of -5, that would be 5 divided by 2 times, well, we got -5 here, -5 plus 2, right? So here we have, we're going to multiply first, right? So it's the same thing as we have -5 over 1 here, right? So we can multiply the numerator with the numerator and denominator with the denominator here. So it's going to be like 5 times -5 would be -25, would be -25, and 2 times 1 will be 2. Plus 2. Well, we can have a common denominator here, the least common denominator, because this is 2 over 1, since we have fraction plus integer, and integer can be written as fraction. And so the common denominator it says there is nothing coming between 2 and 1. We can just multiply both denominators here. So 2 times 1 is 2, and that will be our common denominator here. So I'm going to multiply by 2. I will multiply by 2 here, and make sure also you multiply by 2 on the top there, right? So it's going to be negative 25 divided by 2 plus 4 divided by 2. And here, we're going to keep the same denominator, and we're going to add the numerators here. It's going to be like negative 25 plus 4. Now, negative 25 plus 4 will be negative 21 divided by 2, right? That would be, if you want to change this one, this is improper fraction. You can change it to mixed number. That would be negative 10 and a half, right? Negative 10 and a half.